Growing up, I knew I was a Latina, but I felt like I could only relate to Latina women in my family and never the ones on TV or film. The media showed me that an actual Latina was supposed to be things like exotic, curvaceous, with plunging necklines and skin-tight dresses, which really became the norm when describing typical Latinas on TV and movies. All of the Latina roles seemed to be the same, where the women were objectified and were often seen as mere sexual beings, to be desired but not valued. Amongst these stereotypical roles also included maids or criminals.
Puerto Rican, you never seem to, or very rarely seem to be cast as a Latina.
There are very few roles that are where the characters are of a Latin descent, and the ones that are there are not substantial characters or insubstantial content that I would consider a well representative of a culture that I belong to and I'm so very proud of and I know very, very well. So when art doesn't really imitate life as an artist, I don't like to be a part of it.
We don't have the diversity of roles that white women, for example, have. Even though there are still problematic representations of women in general across races and cultures, I think that, increasingly we're seeing greater representation, greater opportunities for Latinas to star in films, to be on television shows, but they do buy into those same stereotypes that you mentioned about being fiery, having a fiery temper, having a certain type of body, being a maid. So I think we have a lot of work to do to challenge some of those representations and have more interesting, diverse roles. Young girls might think, okay, that's what it means to be a Latina, because that's the media representation that I'm seeing. So if my body doesn't look like that, then I'm not performing my role in society the way that I'm supposed to. I'm not an authentic Latina because I don't have those curves, or my hair doesn't look like that, or I'm not speaking the same way.
It's okay to be a Latina. You might not see them often in Hollywood or movies. They're probably not portrayed as well. The portrayal's not right. Or, when I was a kid, there wasn't a lot of Latinas on TV. There wasn't a lot of Latinas in movies or anything like that. If they were, then they were the stereotype chola, or the stereotype hot, hot mama, and then I think it's improving. It's gotten quite there yet. Yeah. I think we need to see more Latinas out there,
If I'm watching TV, they always seem whatever it is, they're always making them seem not intelligent, or they don't know what they're doing. They might add humor to it, but they're still making Latinas seem like they're not worth anything.
They're always given the same image. They're always a maid, they're always the single mom, they're always struggling, they depend on the government, and then they're not giving powerful roles. They're always expecting that, kind of like Prince Charming, to come and sweep them off their feet and pay for all their bills, instead of showing them as lawyers and as doctors and as strong women that have gone to college and are educated and can support themselves and don't need a man, a white man, or any man to come and, fix their life.
How about I take you out?
Honey.
She's so upset that she hasn't even had time to apply her makeup or use her computer. Hey, where is the car? I parked it here.
It's a tow zone.
Somebody just put that there because that wasn't here when I parked.
Hey.
No, it's not fine. I'm trying to have a real conversation, and all you do is put me on a pedestal. Stella is not suicidal. She's just stupid. The door. Ay, Stella, no! Ay, no, Stella, don't do it. Don't kill yourself.
So why bring attention to these stereotypes? Because Latina women are more than just maids, they're curves, and a fiery temper. The media, therefore, as the main distributor machine that manufactures an ideal Latina image, continues to perpetuate the cycle of negative body image and self-validation. The pool of Latina role models outside of entertainment and lack of Latina diversity in the media landscape contributes to the limitation of Latina youth potential.
That because of the media representations that we have, there isn't a lot of space to talk about what other types of roles can Latinos have in society, because people are fed the same image. When you have all of these conflicting messages, how do you make sense of who you are and what you want to do and what you're capable of doing? I think just being able to critically think about various types of messages that you're receiving gives you some tools for moving forward and figuring out who you are, what you want, how to navigate the world from that position.
Yeah. Stereotypes about Latina is very demeaning and oppressing because what they say is that Latina women are weak and they can't do what a man can. I mean, I'm in ROTC, I do what the other guys can. I prove to the other guys and the guys that I know that like not to mess with me because I can do just as much as they can.
Like in high school, it's kind of weird when girls try to go into football and try to play football, and I did it, and guys were saying, oh, like we can't tackle her because she's a girl, we're gonna end up hurting her, and she probably doesn't throw well, and she probably doesn't know what she's talking about or what she's doing on the field. It was weird at first, but they got used to it and they're like, oh wow, she's actually really good, and I was successful in doing that, and I really enjoyed like breaking that kind of code or like stereotype that only guys can do this and girls aren't allowed to.
Stereotypes defines Latinas as with spectacular bodies and very tall. Not all Latinas are that way. They're in all sizes and shapes. For example, I'm short. I'm a little bit short. That makes me different, I think. Also, like sometimes they think that because I'm white and red hair, they think that I only speak English, but that's not it. I speak both languages, Spanish and English.
And they always labeled us as the Spanish kids. It's like, oh, you can't talk to them, they're the Spanish kids. Until middle school, that it kind of went away because everybody was all together. But even my best friend, that she was in a regular classroom, she would always be like, yeah, I wouldn't talk to you because you were a Spanish kid. And I hated that. It's like, why? Just because I speak another language, it doesn't mean I'm someone else, you know?
I'm majoring in microbiology right now, and I want to be a doctor. And I've done karate. I remember when I was in karate, we had to break a board, and I was the first one to go. The first time I didn't break it, but then the second time I broke it, and all the guys were like, oh. So then they had to break it, and they're freaking out. And I've also done boxing. I'm in boxing. I've sparred. I've gotten hit in the face. When I was in karate, I got kicked, and all the boys would get kicked in the face, and they'd start crying, an actual crying, and they'd walk off, and they'd stop fighting. But I was the one, like, my eyes were all teary, but I'd still fight.
Visit our website, www.latinitas.com.